Congratulations! You have made it to part 3 of season 3, episode 19 for our beta reading session. So let's jump right into it. Rose!
I swapped a rom-com that I started work on last year. I kind of left it to the side, so I haven't done much on it. I got about 35,000 words in. So I know Nell hates the age gap thing where there's like a...
Damn it, that was my comment. Why are you saying my comment to the...
She hates an older woman, younger man, and like I just love a challenge. I was thinking about it at the time, thinking like we're all brought up with the older man, younger woman thing in films and things. It's just so natural, and so when you see it the other way around, like even the most like feminist person, like there's a little tiny part of you that gets jolted because you're not used to it.
I did tell Rose, I was like, if you do it well, then that's fine. You just have to have it well executed. Then I might believe it. Like, I'm not a love triangle fan, but if you do it well, I might be.
Yeah. So this is a single mum who got pregnant when she was 18 and her daughter's just gone off to university. So she's like late 30s and kind of doesn't know what to do with herself now that there's all this responsibility gone and she never had her 20s and all that. And there's a younger actor who has been working really hard for his whole 20s, but still partying and whatever. And he's just getting his big break, but he has to go home, which is where she is. And that is where we begin.
Fantastic. So my first comment was that her main character's name is Rice. I will keep calling it Rice because that's how it's said. Thank you very much. And so my first comment was, does he have wings? Because I was like, you cannot name your character Rice. Because
it's a Welsh name.
Immediately, Akatar, okay?
This is why fantasy upsets me sometimes, because they take so many names from Welsh or like Gaelic things and then it gets co-opted into this thing where it's, oh, he has to have wings. I'm like, do you know the amount of Reese's I had in my school growing up?
And that was Rice Sand, isn't it? Like, it's the longer name.
Yes, Rose knows. I mean it with love and hate at the same time. The one kind of thing that I was more confused in Carrie's POV, which is the female main character, than I was in Rice's. And so the first kind of part that confused me was you literally start the chapter off with, Mom, can you stop crying, please? It's embarrassing. And so then you go into this whole chapter and I'm like, wait, who said that? Because you don't have like a dialogue tag afterwards. And I was just like, I almost read like an entire page before I was like, had to go back to read it again. And I was like, oh wait, it's the mom like mimicking her daughter. So I was like, might be just something you can change a little bit because you don't want your writer to stop like at the bottom and be like, wait, what? And then have to go back again because then they're kind of losing their trail of thought. And so the other thing I also had, which kind of confused me, is so you have this conversation with Carrie and then Ellie, and then all of a sudden it's like, yes, Zara, my daughter. And I was like, whoa, I thought Ellie was her daughter. I was like, what the heck is happening here right now? And I think it kind of connects to the first line, because I read that first line, I thought it was her daughter, and then immediately had Ellie's name, and I was like, okay, Ellie is her daughter. And then you have like, my daughter Zara, and I'm like, whoa, time out. What is happening right now? I was just like, I was confused thoroughly. And so I was just like, that was kind of the main point. But the rest of it was just like kind of small notes that it was like, okay, I feel like you're telling the action here before it even happens, which I've noticed I do a lot of. I'm like, stop doing that. I'm like, no, you have to have the action first before you tell me. So it was just like small things like that, or it was exclamation points. Oh my goodness gracious. Every time I see exclamation point, I feel like you're yelling at me. So unless you don't want me to think you're yelling at me, don't use it. I say with love.
Oh, that's where Sarah gets it.
No, I got it from an editor, but you know, there weren't too many in this one for me, but maybe that's because I'm finishing a beta read where when she starts using exclamation points, there's like 30 of them. And so I
hear you.
You're not that bad, but yeah, maybe consider whether you need them.
Yeah. But yeah, that was kind of my notes.
I think everybody had an issue with the dialogue thing. And actually, like, as I sent it to everybody, because I had seen it and I was like, this is going to confuse people. You're not meant to start with dialogue. But I thought it'd be a great talking point on the podcast. Like Connor was saying before, that there's like an author knowledge that you have when you're writing it. I wasn't aware quite how confused people would get. I knew people would be like, don't start with dialogue, I'm confused, who's talking, blah, blah, blah. But that in my mind, because I knew who her daughter was, I wasn't thinking that they would be confused who this other Ellie person was and everything. Yeah, so I think everybody had an issue with that, which was fair.
And it seems like a fairly easy issue to fix with just like one line before it or something. And then it'd all be clear. We wouldn't be confused who Ellie is or who the daughter is or anything. So it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
All right, Connor, what's your feedback?
Apart from that, I mean, a lot of little things. You actually gave a good paragraph about halfway down the second page of chapter 2 that I read that and it reframed the entire rest of the chapter. So then I suddenly understood who Ellie and Zara and Carrie were. And I just wanted that paragraph first. Not that that's what you need to do, but if I got that paragraph first, the rest of it would have made sense to me. Oh, nope. That makes sense now, too, since I know that Ellie's not her daughter. So, yeah, okay, that's good. The only other thing, I guess, that I want to mention is that you start chapter 3 with, as far as wake-up calls went, this text was a bloody good one. And then I immediately wanted to see the text, was surprised when I didn't get the text, and then we never got the text, which was weird to me.
I had the same question, and then because I read like 4 paragraphs, went back, reread it again, I was like, what am I missing here? Read it to my husband, because I'm like, what am I missing here? And after he left on his walk, and I was looking at it and making my comment, I thought, is this a English terminology for a one-night stand or something like that I don't know because I'm American? I would never think to look up because that word has a very specific meaning.
What text?
I think what happened, because I was confused by what I wasn't either, is I didn't read text. I was thinking how I was reading it. I was like, as far as wake-up calls went, this was a bloody good one. And so him turning around was the wake-up call. I did not read the text word. Clearly my brain just didn't even read the text. So yeah, now I'm confused as well.
So in my quick edit of this, I realized that I started the chapter saying that he'd had a call, and then I realized he was in bed with her and she would have heard the call. So I was like, oh, it's a text. He got a text saying, I'm going to call you, you've got it, sort of thing. And he's like, yay. And then the agent calls properly after the one-night stand person goes. It's kind of like a mistake in the edit where it's like I've just changed the word from call to text, and it's obviously not worked.
Okay, I guess maybe one more mention at the end there. I feel like he has multiple opportunities to interject about the job while Pammy is getting ready to leave. And the fact that he doesn't lets me know that he must not really want her to stay, since I feel like he has those opportunities and then doesn't take them. So if that's the way you want that to be taken, great. Which I kind of got the sense because he was like, we've been doing this dance for 6 months and that felt important.
Didn't you feel, though, that maybe that was a personality trait to show, like, he's not very good at standing up for himself, if that makes sense?
Maybe. I didn't take it that way, but maybe it's because I would have just been like, hey, this is the deal.
What was your intention, Rose?
It's probably more a character thing than anything, but I think both points kind of do work towards the same goal, in the sense of he kind of knows she's not really right for him, otherwise she would want to see him in the daylight, for one. But also he's spent like 10 years being told he's rubbish and like not really getting anywhere, and he's got this whole backstory with his dad where he's just not very, I guess, self-confident. So it's definitely a personality trait, but also that he
came off a little, what do you call it, lackadaisy, like chill, like what are you talking, okay, whatever, you're gonna do whatever. And it did come off a little odd to me, and I felt like maybe I could get more of that in the first chapter so that I understand why he's not fighting back, or not necessarily fighting, but like pushing back and trying to assert himself more. I think if that was a lot stronger in chapter 1, like I think it's there a little bit, but then it's just doesn't come off as strongly in chapter 3 as why he's not trying to say something or like walk after her or something. He's just laying there. There's not a lot of movement in him, I think, is the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you want us not to like him, is the question.
No, I think I've probably got, a similar thing going on to Sarah and Connor with the discovery right of it all. Like I probably could have sent more thoroughly edited other works to see if they too have the same issues. But I think there is probably just a thing of like trying to figure out who I want him to be at the beginning.
So for me, there were a couple more things, and I guess nobody else had a problem with it, but the very second line threw me for a loop back in chapter 1. So you tell us that Ray's phone's the enemy, and then you go into candlelight breastfeeding, and I'm like, why would his friends be sending him
Everyone hates
that picture?
I did have a problem with that, yes.
Yeah, I'm like, I understand the fluffy socks and I understand the, remote controls and all that, oh, his friends are all homebodies now. But it's like, I have not known a single guy.
Well, they're guys and girls. Like, everyone's on the chat.
Yeah, but it's like, I wouldn't send a picture like that to even my girlfriends. Like, it feels more intimate than I think a friendship would be with the friends.
I wasn't imagining that everything was on show, but everybody did have an issue with it, so it's definitely worth looking at.
Can I just say, it was one of my small comments that I had, but literally my comment was like, I mean, yes, but no. Like, what do you mean by candlelit breastfeeding? I was like, because together with the feet, it reads like a trans fetish kink. I was like,
amazing.
It did start it out as like, is this gonna be a 3-4 level? Like, what are we doing here?
Who knows? Haven't finished it yet.
Only other thing in the first chapter is we get where is he that is making this apartment so much more expensive than Wales? Like, I'm curious now. And the fact that in chapter 2, you get very clear ideas of where Carrie's at and where her daughter's at. So then I started thinking, is her daughter in the same city he is? But I don't know because I don't know where he is. Or are they not? Is this how Carrie's going to meet him? Going to see her daughter? And I don't know if you want that kind of red herring in there. And connections in the reader brain in there if they're not connected.
Earlier up in the page I say about it being London New Year's, but I don't know if everybody missed it, then yeah. I need to add in a bit more.
I didn't catch, I even had gone back up to the top and was like, did she tell us where he was? Because I have Clipham up at the top and I'm like, but he's not in Clipham anymore. So then I was like, where is he exactly? So I'm getting a lot of place names in this first chapter that I'm not connecting to where he's at now.
I did catch it because you do say this is my first New Year's in London. So I don't know. That was good enough for me.
That's twice actually. You commented on something just before I say it for the second time. Maybe you were distracted by the other thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I just was getting so many place names from him that my brain was like, I don't know where he's at. And that's one, especially in a first chapter. If you start name dropping too many people or too many places, it can become muddled. And that's what happened for me. I guess I just started ignoring place names after that first one. I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. But now it matters, but now I don't know.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Mine. Me. Okay, so this is a contemporary romance about a grifter who has left a criminal life behind and started over in a new place, only to cross paths with a person, in brackets, she lost her heart to, who unintentionally was the reason she got caught in the first place. Oh, that's a lot of words.
And once again, I had a lot of little things. The only big thing that I guess I wanted to talk about is I feel like, this might sound weird, but I feel like I'm being told how much of an effect Dax is having on her. And what I want is to see her life right before this. If we got a chapter of like, this is my life and this is why it's good now, then when Dax comes in and messes it up, I understand why it's messing it up and maybe what she would be reverting back to by going back to him and why that would be a bad thing for her. Because right now, I mean, I had to look up what a grifter was, but I don't understand the role that Dax played. I understand he was there, I guess, because he watched her go away in cuffs, but I don't know the role he played there or why the breakup was messy or what getting back with him would entail that is such a bad thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So, funny enough, I love this idea, but I'm having a hard time with it because parts of me want to write what happened when she was in that town with him and their relationship and how they built their relationship. And then part of it is like the present. But I hate going to flashbacks with a passion. And so I think that is where my struggle comes from, because I was thinking I want to write it in the present, but then have dialogue moments where you get little bits of what happened in the past. And so I totally get that idea of you saying like you would have liked to see a little bit more, which kind of makes me think maybe I should just start my novel at a different place, because maybe this is not the right place to start it. But I think with romance, generally like your meet cute has to be in the first three chapters. And so I tend to want to do my meet cutes very early, because then you kind of know who the main characters are. You kind of know the tension or non-tension or conflict or whatever there is between them. And so that kind of starts off your story. But I hear what you're saying, and I think because technically they had a meet cute the first time when they met. I'm conflicted in the sense like, do you start your novel with the first time that we meet and you get the whole story of the grifter and then she gets in cuffs and then you go to this part where she started a new life and now she kind of sees him again? Or do you start with the immediate like wham bam, you're in the climatic scene, and then you kind of weave the story and discover their story, if that makes sense?
And I can't really speak to that because I don't read romance. So I'm a really bad opinion on that. Like I said, though, in the comment, I think you could do a really good setup chapter, and you wouldn't have to do a flashback, I think. Even if you were just to do like her preparing to come do this event that she's floristering, whatever that word is for that. But if she has little habits from being a grifter that come out a little bit somehow while she's preparing, like that guy could be an undercover cop, and then she's like, no, I'm not doing anything illegal, like I'm fine right now. Or if like one of her coworkers does something that reminds her of Dax, so like, I don't know, drums her fingers as she walks along the counter, and then she's like, oh, Dax used to do that, oh, stop thinking about Dax. You know, you could do little things like that to build that up and just kind of drop it in throughout the first chapter. And then when we meet Dax, we're like, holy crap, it's him, you know?
I'm sorry, Connor, are you going to be a new BFF beta reader? Like, what's happening here right now?
Sure, I'm happy to be.
Now you know why I love everything he's done to my novels. Him and Casey have been awesome.
Okay, no, I do like those ideas. I think that's going to be a Rose thing, be like, more interiority. Right, Rose?
Oh,
Yeah,
always.
I'm already like feeling you.
No, I was just thinking about your question there of how to structure it, and like Connor says, that's a bit of an author question. Only you can decide. But have you read The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary? Because she does the two timelines. You could even have the two timelines going. Like you go back and forth between them, but you have to obviously have like as important a story going on in both timelines, which it seems like you probably would be having.
Are you being funny right now? I don't even like your time switching, and now you want me to do it with mine.
Yes, I knew before I said it you weren't going to do that.
Yeah, that was the big point that I had, was wanting to know more about it going in.
Yeah. You say this is a short story, isn't it? Or are you thinking of expanding it?
So it started out as a short story. So I got like a writing prompt and then I started writing it. But with this one, I kind of already had like a whole background idea and how it's going to go and things like that. So I haven't written it completely. It has been written a bit.
I kind of had similar notes to Connor with like the explaining. I just thought you can trust us a little bit more and give us clues, like Connor was saying, where it's like, he wouldn't have done that, and then we're like, who's he? I quite enjoyed being misdirected. I'm not sure if it was on purpose or not, but because I knew she was a grifter, I went into it thinking she was in the middle of a grift, like she was doing something. So I was like reading all the interactions she was having, being like, ooh, is she in a team with her? Like, is she going to be annoyed about this guy getting in the way? And then it was like, oh, no, this is her normal life. And then I kind of liked that twist. But then because there was a twist on that as well, where it's like, but it is still a grift because she's like made up this persona. So I thought you did that really well. And I just really liked the concept and the premise. I think you've got a really good kind of framework to work from there, and build out some fun little bits and bobs. I think maybe you're giving away too much too soon if you are going to build this out into a novel. Too much of their past too soon. And I know Connor wants more of the past, but it's in the way that it is at the moment. It feels like you're just telling us she's obsessed with this guy and they were the love, like, and I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. Like, I don't know anything about him. And he just kind of seems a bit blank page at the moment. Like, just some big guy that she can't resist. And I'm like, okay, I know that there's a kink for big guys, but like, is there anything else? Like a personality quirk or something?
He has no personality, okay?
That's his personality quirk. No personality.
Okay. Yeah, I just worried that at the moment it will be hard to sustain that without feeling repetitive, because that's literally all that we have of why she likes him is he's big and she likes him. You know, so if there's a little bit more depth in there, then you don't, you know, we can be building a little house, I guess, for their love.
I felt like there were some hints in there about him being kind of a kind of guy who has a strong moral compass, but is also kind of forgiving. Like I got that vibe off of him. So maybe if that came out a little stronger, if that's right, if that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I was simply imagining him as like a cowboy type of dude. But he's not a cowboy. Right. Calm down, people. Calm down. There's not a cowboy romance.
But he basically didn't stop her getting arrested, but he didn't help her and could have.
He didn't help her not get arrested. Is that what you're asking?
Like he was there watching and didn't help.
Yeah, because he was just like in shock.
Because that kind of just played out, like it made my brain kind of go off in two directions of like, so did he, like, is he a good or bad guy? You know.
Listen, I'm gonna take a Sarah over here and be like, yeah, that's what I want you to think. Is he not?
But like, does she think he's a good or bad guy, or does she?
I don't know. You'll have to read the rest of the 400 pages.
No, that part doesn't. That part isn't okay. Okay, I did have one thing about her fake identity, because I don't know what it's like in the US, which I assume is where this is. It seemed American. Has she had to do shady things to get this fake identity? I don't need to know all in the first 5 pages, but I did want to know more about it and was hoping it wasn't going to get papered over, the fact that she just has this fake identity.
Interesting.
Because like here, like you would need specific documents to be able to get on like payroll. And so, like, has she forged them? Has she, like, had to get by, like, a social security number? Has she got into, like, more trouble by trying to live this straight life?
Gotcha. Oh, wait, did you want to answer for that one? Because I was just like, cool.
No. Maybe just little hints towards it in the first pages and then, like, maybe something a bit more later on.
She was on an OnlyFans page with her foot fetish, and then there was a person who could give her a fake ID.
Rose, did you have anything else?
No, I think everything else you can see in line.
Okay, so for mine, it's very interesting to hear both of their perspectives, because to me, they're asking questions I was like, oh, I know the answer to that. Like, I read the subcontext better, I guess. Because I'm like, oh no, I know the answer to that. And then you would hint, and I'd be like, yeah, I know the answer. And this is where Connor goes, I hate you.
Sarah's very good at this, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge subcontext person. And so I caught a lot of that they're both kind of questioning. So it may just be too subtle is what my comment is going to be. If you don't want to add a whole lot, I loved the action jumping right. I'm like, glass breaking on carpet. What is going on? Where is she? And then I had to read to find out. And I wonder if that is in part because we don't really see her interacting with her coworker in any sort of expanded way. She just kind of pulls her away to fix her hand and then disappears. So I wonder if there is more communication the two of them can have while she's thinking to kind of speed up her thinking about the past and give us kind of this, I'm trying to be normal with her, but I'm trying to do this at the same time kind of conflict in there. Might help. I don't know. I'm throwing spaghetti on a wall right now because for me, it read very differently, it seems, to the two of them. I thought
that they had, like, you know, something special once, and that, like, seeing him was throwing her and stuff. But I think what you're saying about when he first arrives and the interplay between her and her friend, for me, I was a bit like wanting to know, I guess, a bit more of what was going on inside her head then, of like is she mad he's here, or is he like mad her friend is here, like a little bit to kind of anchor us into how she feels about him showing up, just like a little bit more, because at the moment it feels separate. Her thing with him feels separate to her thing with her life, instead of this thing with him changing what's going on for her right now and like potentially affecting what's going on right now. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Maybe it would help if, I don't know, it feels like Dax just completely overwhelms every thought and every feeling that she has, and so she disconnects. And maybe that's what you want, but the disconnect is causing some issue trying to figure out what's she expecting of herself until a little bit later when you do bring in that she's not trying to be a grifter. The only thing she did was create this new identity. That's the last bad thing she's done or whatever. So it makes me wonder what other bad things are going to have to come in this situation with Dax. Like, is he going to question how she got back out of jail? And is she going to have to admit to things? And now, like, or is something now going to happen in the next chapter that's going to force her into her old ways or try to? That's a lot of the reader questions that are coming up that I don't need answers for in this chapter, but I'm definitely looking forward to in this story and trying to understand the characters. The only other big thing was I was not sure exactly what she was mad at, Dax or herself. And if it's a mix of the two, like Dax because he didn't help, or herself because she fooled him for so long and really should have come clean earlier or whatever. Just some of the wording of when she's talking about her anger and frustration about the time made me unsure who she's really mad at or if it is both.
This is very interesting.
It was really strong to me.
Oh, thank you. That's very interesting because Dax is not a bad person at all. And so it's interesting that these questions whether he's like good or bad. So that's very interesting. I was like, okay, might want to clarify that a bit more.
Yeah, I got the sense that he was like in on the grifting or something, or he was a part of that lifestyle somehow.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, he was just a dumb fool in love.
Well, because he's like connected to her past, and when you're talking about the past, you're talking about her being a grifter. So, and when you talk about her getting arrested, and he seems to have seen it, it seemed like maybe they were a team, and she was the one that got arrested, and he wasn't.
Gotcha.
That is exactly what I was thinking. Yes, which reframes my comment a little bit for you. Maybe I had assumed that her meeting Dax in the situation would be her past life trying to like draw her back in sort of thing, which is why I wanted more context for that to understand why this was such a bad thing for her to get back with him.
I love this.
And I thought she was in the middle of a grift for a long time. And so I thought him coming back, he was being so kind of going along with the flow so much because he could tell she was grifting, or he assumed she was grifting, and she didn't want him to like let on to her other people that she knew and stuff. So we've all maybe read it differently. I'm not sure.
I love this. This is fantastic.
Yeah, because I didn't read that at all. I assumed he had no idea and she was living a double life with him. That's what I thought.
I think this goes back to what the author knows in their head versus what is written on the paper.
When he's meeting her now, he knows that she was a con artist because he must know why she went to prison. He does.
Yeah.
So I feel like he would have some stronger reactions towards seeing her then. If that's the last time he saw her was like this unveiling of her being this person he didn't know, like seeing her again is going to bring up a lot.
I could have sworn at the beginning, I said his personality is he has no personality.
But he would be like maybe even protective over the people that she's around now, being like, you're not grifting them, are you? Sort of thing, you know, like you're not at it again.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Now, I did kind of wonder why he wasn't acting that way, because I suspected he wasn't in on it at all, but I was like, I'm going to find out. Like, I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to find out why he's not, like, that's why he came off as so forgiving to me, like, lawful but forgiving sort of a personality is what I got from him, because he didn't react that way. So, I don't know.
Interesting. Very. And that's what I love about novels, is like, you as the author have a certain specific thing in mind, but then some readers just take it completely different, and you're like, whoa, okay, that's not at all how this novel was supposed to be received, but love that for you.
But then you also get the consistencies, like the things I was like, oh no, everybody had a problem with this. It absolutely needs attention, you know? And there's other comments that I was like, yeah, only that one person said this. So maybe I just hold off on that and don't do anything until I finish and then see how I feel and see how other readers feel, because it is very subjective.
I love this. This has been so much fun. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. I hope that this episode has just shown a little bit of insight into what can happen when you do a beta reading with someone. I mean, each person's beta reading group is different, each approach is different, each way of feedback is different, but we just wanted to show you as a listener, as a writer, how it might play off and how it might unfold. Thank you, Rose and Connor, for taking the time to come onto this episode and share your writing with us.
Yeah, of course. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you. I've really enjoyed it.
And we like to keep it short here on Tea on Tales, so thank you so much for sticking through this 3-parter episode. Let's go get your fingers back on the keyboard and those pens back on paper.
And if you love what we are doing here, you have enjoyed this beta reading session so much that you have gone out and found yourself your own beta reading group, then go follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at Tea Tales Podcast, and on Twitter/X and TikTok at Podcast2Tales. And go to that purple icon on your device and go give us 5 stars because you loved this 3-parter so much, and help us go up at some moment.
Happy writing.
Bye.